Okay, today we are talking about walking your dog nicely on a leash, teaching your dog to walk nicely. How many of you have had a dog, or maybe you have one currently, that when you take it for a walk, it's more like it's walking you rather than you walking the dog? I've had some dogs like that, and I see people walking their dogs that are like that, and it's like the dog is pulling them around, and it's very uncomfortable, with a dog pulling on you like that. And you also feel like you're not in control, which you're really not if the dog's pulling you. All it takes is a loose dog to come along or something like that, and I've seen folks that have been pulled down and pulled along the road by their dog. So we don't want anything like that happening. So we want to teach them to walk nicely on a leash. My dogs walk at my side. I teach them to walk at my side, and usually I teach my dogs to walk on my left primarily because I've done some obedience with my dogs, and in obedience the dog has to walk at the left. It doesn't matter. If you're not going to compete in obedience, you can teach your dogs to walk on your left or your right. Ideally, you would teach them to walk on either side nicely, and alternate sides when you're training. And I will show you with my dogs how we do this. Basically, you're starting out luring them with a treat, and that's how you're going to get them walking nicely at your side. And if you are using a clicker, you would want to have your clicker and click when they are in the area that is what I call the reward zone. The reward zone is either on my left side or on my right side. The dog has to be within a couple of feet on either side of me. So if they're out drifting and smelling a flower or something, that's not the reward zone. The reward zone is close to me. And I don't really want them in front of me because I'm clumsy and I could trip over them. So I reward them for being at my side, either left or right. It doesn't matter. And the way that I start out is with treats, and we will walk and take a few steps and then stop and reward the dog with the treat in my hand. Let's see, we will also look at teaching your dog to sit when you stop walking. So like you're walking along and the dog is at your side and you stop, you want the dog to sit. That just helps keep control. It's an impulse control behavior to teach your dog, and I just really like to see that. So like with a bigger dog, what you're going to do is hold the treat at your side, kind of at their nose level. Dogs follow where their nose points. So if you hold it in front of their nose, they're going to walk forward with you. And you can even take like a piece of string cheese and let them nibble on it as you're walking along. That's a good thing to do. And if you've got the clicker, you can be clicking while they're nibbling on the cheese. For a little dog, what I do is use a wooden spoon with peanut butter on it. It's because so I don't have to bend over and kill my back. And walk along and feed them that way, and I will show you that also. You can, as you're walking along, to kind of break this up a little bit, you can work on your come command like we talked about, where you're walking along and then you start backing up and you call them to come in front of you, so you can work your nice walking and your come command at the same time and kind of break that up a little bit. So you know, at first you're going to start out luring with the treat, and then you're going to start keeping a treat like in your hand but not in front of their nose, and see if they will pay attention to you as you're walking. Um, and you want to kind of move through that gradually. Um, you know, you want your dog to get the hang of being lured by the treat before you take the treat into your hand, and don't give it to them right away. But I will demonstrate that. There are also some devices that you can use if you need to help keep your dog under control when you're walking. The sort of the old standard is what they call a pinch collar. I don't use these on my dogs and don't usually recommend them unless it's like a small person with a great big dog that they just are not ever going to be able to control. In which case, you know, sometimes a pinch collar is needed with that, and some big dogs can handle those pinch collars. I would rather see someone use what's called a halty or a gentle leader. You can buy those at pet stores and I think on Amazon. And what it does, it kind of slips over the dog's nose, and so like when they try to pull, it pulls their nose back. And so remember how I said they follow their nose? Well, they stop pulling forward when they feel that little tug on their nose. But it doesn't hurt them, and I've used those, and they are good. They do not teach your dog not to pull, but they help manage your dog while they're doing that. So if, you know, if all else fails and you really feel like you need something else to help with your dog, that's something you could do. They also have no pull harnesses now. I've not ever used one, but I have heard that they do work also. So I would recommend one of those type things before you ever try a pinch collar. So I will make a couple of videos showing you how to start teaching your dog to walk nicely on a leash. Just remember, they need time to master one step before you move on to the next. So don't fade that treat out too soon. Make sure that they get the point of it and get used to being fed treats as they walk. That will help them, you know, move along, and eventually you'll get rid of the treat. But you don't want to be in too much of a hurry to do that. Okay,